Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to host a Minecraft PC 1.10 server on Windows. I like to do a video like this every time a major version of Minecraft comes out. This one I did wait a little bit on because last time I did actually do the video and I updated my server to 1.9, but it wasn't stable and it kind of screwed things up. Now I'm using this 1.10 software on my own server. I know it works well, it's stable, so I decided I would do this video now and just do a bit of a refresh. And I will be doing things a little bit differently in this video than I did in my 1.9 video. So what we're going to want to do is, you're going to want to go into the description and go to this link right here. This is to get the buildtools.jar. What this will do is download all the files it needs for Spigot and Craft Bucket and compile them into the 2 jar files that you're going to need. Last time what I did is I had these pre-compiled and everything for you, but the problem with that is that you couldn't update the server. Like, let's say you wanted to go from 1.9.3 and you wanted to update it to 1.9.4 or something like that. You wouldn't be able to do that because my version was only 1.9.3, where this, you can actually update it without having to download anything else. I'll show you that in a little bit so it makes more sense. You're also going to want to get this here called Git. That's actually the name of it, Git. I'll have that link in the description as well. Just go over here and click download for Windows, install it. It's really simple, just a basic installation. And also I have this link in the description, which is just the Spigot website. There's plugins, some tutorials, that kind of stuff on here. So yeah, this is just the basics that you're going to need. So once you have build tools downloaded, I'm going to have mine on my desktop because that just makes things way easier. Yeah, so you have that right there. What we're going to do is make a new folder called Build Tools, or it could be anything that you want. I'm just going to keep it Build Tools, or name it Build Tools to keep it simple. Alright, so there's Build Tools. What we're going to want to do is open up Git Bash. So you have to have that Git thing installed. Here's what the icon looks like. I know there's 2 different versions out there of Git. One of them has a different icon, and then there's this one. So basically, just go to your Start menu and look up Git, because I know it doesn't actually create a shortcut for you. Not sure why, but it doesn't give you that option like most installers do, but just search it in the Start menu here. If you're on Windows 8, just upgrade to Windows 10 because Windows 8 sucked and you don't have a start menu, but whatever. Let's go ahead and open up Git Bash, and what we're going to type in is cd, which stands for change directory. We're going to change our folders. Use the tilde, which is the little squiggly line next to the 1 to the left of the 1. You're going to need to hold shift to make the little tilde thing pop up, then slash desktop, then slash build tools. So what that little tilde is your user directory, and then it goes to the desktop folder, which is inside that user directory, and then to the build tools folder that we created. So to make it look just like that, hit enter, and now we're in that directory. So what we're going to type in is java-jar buildtools.jar, and you might have, what you might have seen on the website, there was another command that you can run. I'll bring that up here in a sec. This command right here adds the revision command here. So basically what that does is if you want to change your server to like 1.9.4, that's what you would do. You do -- rev 1.9.4. But by default right now it's going to download the 1.10.2 software, so, or whatever the latest is. So let's do that. And while that compiles, I want to talk about, and it might take some time, so I'll probably just skip over it once I'm done talking. But what you're going to want to do is pay attention to this site here, because it'll tell you when they update it to, like, let's say 1.11 comes out. Then you're going to want to know, of course, when that comes out. And you might have to do this -revision command at first. But what's nice about build tools is you actually don't have to re-download it anytime. You can see here, the last update for build tools was March 26th. So that shows that you don't have to continue to re-download. When a new version of Minecraft comes out, you can still use the old build tools, just run that command and it'll download the latest version. That's what I like about build tools, even though it does take some time for it to compile. So that's what it looks like. We're in the build tools folder here, and you can see it's just downloading a bunch of different stuff. Depending on your computer, some computers might take 10-15 minutes. Some might take half an hour. It just depends on the computer. This one will probably take about 10-15 minutes, which is okay, I guess. On my server, it usually does about 5 to 10. But yeah, we'll just let this run. Alright, so once it's done, it'll look like this. You can see your username and stuff again. It'll look like that, just the colored text. So that means we can just close out of this and go to our build tools folder. So There's a few things we're going to keep, but most of it we're going to get rid of. So we're just going to select all of these, except for buildtools.jar. We're going to want to keep that one. Delete all of those. It might take a second because what it is a bunch of, like, it's a lot of space, but it's a bunch of small files. So it makes it a little bit tougher to delete. Takes a little bit more time, but not a big deal. So now we're going to make a new folder. We're going to call it Spigot or whatever you want. You could call it Minecraft server, it doesn't really matter. And we're going to copy over these two files, these craft bucket and spigot files. So what we're going to do is rename those to spigot.jar and craftbucket.jar. And if you don't have the .jar extension, that is okay, because by default on Windows you can't see extensions like that. But you can see, like, over here, that emoji that I made on Google. It was a stupid emoji. All these different pictures and stuff, they all have extensions, but by default Windows doesn't have that. So now what we're going to want to do is make the first our batch file that is going to run the server. So you can see I have start.bat here, but I'm going to show you how to make that. So go into the description and copy this text right here. Once you have it copied, go ahead and open up Notepad. Actually, the easiest thing you can do is just, we'll just go to Start menu, type Notepad, and go ahead and open it up. Paste that inside of it, and there's a couple things you might want to change. This right here basically says how much RAM will be allocated to the server. So that's 512 megabyte minimum, 1536 maximum, which is about 1.5 gigabytes. So that's, usually that's a pretty safe number to go with. If you want to increase that, if you have like a server that is dedicated, or a server computer that is dedicated to hosting this, and it has, 16 gigs of RAM or whatever, then it's okay, you can raise that up a little bit. But if you're running this on a computer that you use on a day-to-day basis, that's at your house or something, and that has like 8 gigs of RAM, that's what this computer is. I use this for recording. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, so I'm just gonna leave that alone. It is a-okay there. So what we're gonna do is go to File, Save As, and we're gonna put that in our Spigot folder. I think it was actually just there. We're going to change the type to all files. We're going to name it start.bat. So there we go. Now it is ready to go. So we can just open this up and it will run the server. Oh. Or not. So I'm going to actually just bring this back down to about 1024. Not sure what the problem is there. If I had to guess, I'd say it's because I'm using a 32-bit version of Java on a 64-bit version of Windows. Okay, there we go. So if you get that error, I didn't expect for it to do that at all, honestly, but just go ahead and reduce the maximum amount of memory allocated. Again, assuming I have a 32-bit version of Java installed. If you get that error and that doesn't fix it, leave a comment down below, and hopefully we can get that worked out. So now we need to accept the agreement thing, so let's open up the eula.txt, change that to true, like that, and then save it, and open up start.bat again. So that's something that's relatively new. You never used to have to do that up until I think it was like 1.7, 1.8. They ended up adding that in, I think. It might have been after Craft Bucket went down. I forget when it was, but basically what it's going to do right now is create the all new world. It's going to get all these files. You can see this whole thing just filled up with a bunch of different files, and just get everything ready to go. But once it is done, we're actually going to shut the server down so that we can get it set up. So I'm just going to go look up a plugin on here. Usually you can go to resources or forums. Generally what I do when I want to get a, right there, login security comes right up. There's a Spanish version. So I'm just going to go ahead and download this. It's a .jar file. And that is just for the future reference. I'm going to be going through plugins in a little bit. So now the server is up, so we're going to shut it down. Now what you don't want to do is click the X to shut off your server, because what they can do is corrupt the world, especially if there's people playing on it while you shut it down. So what you're going to want to do is type in stop, and that'll safely save the whole world so you don't get anything, you don't get any corrupted chunks on it. So there we go. Server is closed, so we're going to open up the server.properties file. Just go here, go to open with. You can use WordPad, Notepad, whatever. I prefer WordPad, so here we go. So let's go through with some of these that you might want to change. So by default, the Nether is allowed, but if you don't want that for whatever reason, you can turn that off. It does use less resources when it's off. We can allow flight for people in survival. I used to have that enabled, but I ended up getting rid of it because it did end up causing some problems, but this isn't even going to be a real server anyway, so I'll just set that to true just for the heck of it. The whitelist, I'm going to go through the whitelist in a little bit. You can turn off NPCs, spawning animals, or whatever you want. The reason you'd want to do that is because it actually does reduce the amount of RAM and CPU usage that your computer or that the server will be using. So if you're on a less powerful system, you might want to go that route. Or if you're setting up a kind of server that you don't want animals and stuff on, another reason why you would want to do that. Online mode by default is set to true. What online mode is it basically checks to make sure that the version of Minecraft that the user is using is legit. So if they're using a hacked client, pirated version, something like that, it won't let them in. I usually have that set to false. It's all about the kind of server you want to host. If you want to host something that's secure, like if you're hosting a game server, for example, you would want to set online mode to true because for one, you wouldn't want hackers. And what can happen is if you ban somebody, you can ban their IP address and their username. What they can do is use their hacked client to make a new username, use a VPN, and they can get back on the server. That's the problem with online mode. So if you're hosting something that you want to have a little more security on, turn online mode on. If you want to get more players, turn it off. So that's just how I look at it. I usually have it disabled. PvP, I usually like to have disabled. When I host in a new server, I always turn PvP on, but I end up turning it off by the end of the day because everybody ruins it. Maximum amount of players. Here's where I don't like to break the bad news. If you're hosting this on your home computer, on your home network, that is just average speed, you're not going to be hosting a, massive 5,000 player server, okay? It's just not going to happen. 20 is even on my home computer here with average internet speeds. 20 would be a little bit high. To play it safe, I'm gonna put it to 15. Oh, now 51. Let's put it to 15 just because if you were to have, let's say, 20 players or 25 players, that can cause some major lag. And it's just when you're hosting it at home, it doesn't really work that well. Now when I'm hosting it on my VPS that's out in Atlanta, that's where I host my server. I might make a video all about that server one of these days. But that's using high-speed internet. It's dedicated to the server, so I could host up to 500 players on a server like that. Thing is I don't use that just for my Minecraft server, so I just set it to 50. But I could easily do a lot more because that's on gigabit internet on a server computer. But when you're hosting it at home, try to keep that number a little bit lower. Spawn monsters, and then at the bottom you have your message of the day. So I would put something like Dogger 2011 server, like that. So let's go ahead and save this, and now the server is ready to go. So let's also look at our login security plugin. So I put that on the desktop. All you have to do for that is drop it into here, and the plugin's ready to go. When you open up the server for the next time, it will automatically load it, and you'll be able to see it in the startup here. Once it loads it, you can see this time it's going to take a lot less. I think the last one was like 40 seconds. This one is a lot less than that. All right, you can see login security. Login security, there's a bunch of stuff for it. So that's loaded in. I think you have to type in like LAC. Yeah, there we go. LAC for your password, or just to manage that. So login security has been loaded, but I'm going to go over some basic commands. So I'm going to start off with the whitelist. So what the whitelist does is allows you to choose who goes on your player, or you can choose who can play on your server and who can't. So we're going to type in whitelist on like that. Whoops, I did not do it right. Whitelist on. There you can see it is now turned on. Now we're going to type in whitelist add, and we're going to add myself. So now Dogger underscore 2011 is added to the whitelist, so I can join. But if somebody with the name Dogger 2011 without the underscore tries to join, they're not going to be able to get in. Or anybody who has a different username than somebody on the whitelist will not be able to get in. And you can also type in whitelist remove, and then now I can no longer join my own server. Now let's say we want to give myself OP, so I'm admin on the server. Just type in OP Docker 2011. If you want to remove it, type in DOP and then remove them. You can change people's game mode as well, so just type in game mode 1 Dogger 2011, and since I'm not on the server, it's not going to go through, but that would be it. You can just type in game mode. You can also type in the whole thing if you want to do like game mode creative, like that. You can also type it, or survival, adventure, spectator, whatever. You can do stuff like that. You can type in the give command, and if you don't type in the command all the way, you can see it'll pop up and tell you how to use it. So the same thing with game mode, tells you how to do it. Same with this one. So yeah, that's how, there's just some basic commands in the console. If you want to see all the available commands, you just type in a question mark and it'll give you every single command on the server. So there's no pages. You don't have to do like question mark 2, 3, whatever. It shows you every single available command. So you can see quite a bit. So you can type in like kick, and you can kick a player, ban -IP. And now it's really weird. You would think to, oops, I didn't type that right. There we go. You would think to unban somebody, you would type in unban or unban-IP or something like that. No, you have to type in pardon and then their username. It's the weirdest, stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life, but that's what it is. So we can do pardon-IP. Really weird, but that's just how it is. You can see banned IPs, banned players is right there. Whitelist also has its own file. So yeah. Logs, you have your logs right here, so that'll just tell you everything that's been going on the server. So let's say, for example, somebody says, there's a hacker on the server, they said it in the chat, they said what they're doing, whatever. What you can do is open up this log, and you can see everything that has gone on in the server. So to make it easier, if somebody gives you their username, what you can just do is, Control F to find them. So if I want to type in that, there you can see I just found myself in the logs, and I can jump this up really quickly. So that's how I've banned a lot of people before, is just looking through the logs to see what they did, what they said. And on my own server, I have plugins set up that will log lots and lots and lots of stuff. Player, when they break stuff, when they play stuff, say things, whatever, when they run commands, all that stuff is logged on my server so that I can tell who is doing what, and I can really, ban people that I don't want on the server. So that's just the basics to running a server. Now, I always like to go over this part at the beginning of the video, but I guess I didn't do that, so hopefully most of you are still watching. So I need to talk about port forwarding. So port forwarding is the sucky part of hosting a server that I hate talking about, and it sucks that you have to even do it. So, although I get it. But first, I'm actually going to talk about IP addresses. So what you're going to want to do is get if you want to get people on your server, you're going to want to give them your external IP address. So your external IP address is the IP address that your ISP sends to your house, and basically it gives that IP address to your home network. Now, what your router does is when a device connects to it, it gives it an internal IP address. So it gets a unique IP address for every single device. So if you have, if you're looking for your IP address and you come up with something like 192.168 or 10.0.0. whatever, chances are you're using the wrong IP address. What you're going to want to get is your external IP address. Look it up on Google. Just look up what is my IP, and it'll tell you right at the top what your external IP address is. There's different websites for it. It's safe. Your IP address is public information as it is. Every time you connect to a website, it can tell what your IP address is. So looking it up isn't dangerous at any. It's not dangerous at all. So that's how you get your IP address. And then, of course, on your router, by default, the port needed to get onto the server is 25565, and by default on your router, it is closed. Nobody can get through that IP address. So if they try to join your server, they're not going to be able to find it because your router refuses that connection through that port. So what you're going to need to do is this sucky thing called port forwarding. So just look it up. I would show it in this video, but the reason I can't is because it's different for everybody that is watching this. You know what I mean? I have a Netgear Nighthawk router. If you're watching this and you don't have a Netgear Nighthawk router, you have like a Linksys, whatever, this would be completely different and it wouldn't make any sense to you. So that's why I'm not going to be showing that. All you have to do, it's really, really simple, is just go onto the internet and just look up how to port forward Netgear Nighthawk or whatever your router is. Just look at the back of it or something and get the model of it. How to port forward Netgear R7000, whatever, that's I think what the actual model number is. And then there's a plenty of tutorials out there. Netgear has tutorials on their website. Linksys has tutorials. I think there are even websites out there. If I see one of these, I will put it in the description that has a whole database on how to port forward tons and tons of different routers. So what you're going to want to do is look up a tutorial like that. And once you get that port open, then people will be able to join your server.